Welcome to The Explainer. Wow, June 2026 has been, honestly, it's been a relentless wave of news that just proves how fast our world is evolving. We're tracking 6 absolutely massive stories today, spanning everything from space exploration and AI to a major cybersecurity crisis and even the rewiring of global finance. It's a lot to wrap our heads around, but we're going to break it all down for you nice and clear.
Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the space economy explosion. Number 2, the AI paradigm shift. Number 3, the cybersecurity crisis. And number 4, digitizing traditional finance.
Seriously, before we even jump into the hard numbers, just let this sink in for a second. Welcome to June 2026. Things that were literally theoretical just a few years ago are becoming operational realities overnight. Our entire global infrastructure is being reshaped. So let's get right into the staggering scale of our very first topic.
Chapter 1. The Space Economy Explosion, SpaceX and the Gigasat Era.
Okay, so let's dive into this. SpaceX just pulled off the largest initial public offering in history. But ask yourself, how much is a company that launches reusable rockets and beams satellite internet from orbit actually worth on the public market?
Well, the answer is $1.77 trillion. Yeah, trillion with a T. That is their final valuation after pricing shares at $135 a pop. They raised a record-breaking $75 billion in capital in the process. And because he holds roughly 42% of those shares, Elon Musk has officially crossed the threshold to become America's first dollar trillionaire.
To really put those metrics into perspective, this confirms a massive, massive shift. SpaceX isn't just some niche government contractor anymore. Right now, they are the 7th most valuable U.S. company. They've actually blown right past Tesla. We are looking at a fiercely independent, incredibly well-capitalized aerospace behemoth that now has the full weight of the public market behind it.
And you know why the market values them so insanely high? It's Starlink. Starlink is driving over half of their estimated $18 billion in revenue for 2025. It is an absolute cash cow. With over 3 million subscribers worldwide, Starlink proves this whole crazy business model works, and it's funding their much, much wilder future projects.
And speaking of wild projects, SpaceX just opened an 11 million square foot Gigasat factory down in Bastrop, Texas. The goal? Mass-producing artificial intelligence satellites. Which brings us to a really fascinating question. Why on Earth, or actually scratch that, why off Earth, does Musk want to move data centers into space? Like, what problem does that actually solve for us?
Well, think about our AI data centers down here on the ground. We are facing a critical energy crisis. These places consume the power of small cities, and just cooling the servers takes up about 40% of that electricity. Space completely solves this. Up in orbit, you get 24/7 solar power, no weather delays, and the vacuum of space gives you perfect, highly efficient passive cooling. They started with an FCC filing in February, the factory opened in June, and mass production hits by late 2027. Their ultimate goal? 100 gigawatts of capacity by 2030 and a mind-boggling 1 million active AI satellites by 2035. It's a radical but kind of brilliant solution to the physical limits we're hitting here on Earth.
Chapter 2. The AI paradigm shift. Apple and Amazon's new frontiers.
All right, let's come back down from orbit and look at the devices right in our pockets. At WWDC 2026, Apple just dropped AFM3. That's Apple Foundation Models 3. They launched 5 distinct models, but the one you really need to care about is the AFM3 Code Advance. This is an on-device model with a super efficient, sparse 20 billion parameter architecture. It's multimodal, which means it natively processes text, image, audio, and video right there on your phone without completely frying your battery. But honestly, the biggest shock of WWDC wasn't the tech, it was the partnership. Apple teamed up with their biggest rival, Google. So why would they do that? Well, Apple basically used Google's Gemini as a foundational teacher through a process called distillation. This let Apple close their technology gap instantly and tap into Google's massive infrastructure. But, and this is the absolute key for Apple, it preserves your privacy. Apple routes the really heavy, complex tasks through their own new private cloud compute. So your data is end-to-end encrypted, never stored, and it lets Apple go toe-to-toe with giants like OpenAI.
Meanwhile, another tech titan is making some massive waves. Jeff Bezos is back in the startup game. He's returned as the co-CEO of Prometheus, and they just closed a staggering $12 billion Series B to build what they're calling an A-engineer, an artificial general engineer. We're not talking about an AI that just writes an email or some code. This is a system designed to automate the entire physical engineering process, end to end.
Think about how things are normally built.
Human engineers spend months painstakingly designing and testing physical parts using traditional CAD software. Prometheus Age completely flips the script. It uses evolutionary algorithms to autonomously generate, simulate, and optimize designs, like, say, a highly complex part for a jet engine, all on its own. It's a total game changer. It democratizes advanced manufacturing, meaning a tiny team can now pull off engineering feats that used to require a massive aerospace division.
Chapter 3: The Cybersecurity Crisis. The Oracle PeopleSoft Zero Day.
Of course, with all this rapid progress, there is a darker side. Let's look at the terrifying specifics of a massive new vulnerability, CVE 2026-35273. It was given a critical CVSS score of 9.8 out of 10. It is a remote code execution flaw, and here's the kicker. It requires absolutely zero authentication, literally none. So an attacker, in this case the highly professional Shiny Hunters group, just needed an IP address to completely take over a server. Because of this, over 100 organizations have already been breached.
The sheer devastation here happened because of a perfect storm. It was a true zero day. Hackers had days to roam around completely free before Oracle could even issue a patch on June 11th. And Shiny Hunters deliberately targeted the education sector. They know universities are notorious for relying on widespread, legacy 1980s software, and they usually have much smaller cybersecurity budgets. Basically, years of technical debt instantly turned into a massive security debt, leading to catastrophic data theft.
So if you are an enterprise IT professional watching this right now, here is your practical response plan. If your organization uses PeopleSoft, you need to take these steps immediately. First, install that Oracle patch right now. Don't wait. Second, you've got to meticulously review your server logs dating back to May 27th for any signs of compromise. And third, you must shield these legacy systems. Implement web application firewalls and enforce strict network segmentation. You absolutely have to isolate these vulnerable servers from the rest of your network.
Chapter 4: Digitizing Traditional Finance. Citi's Blockchain Revolution. Okay, let's bring it all home with the foundations of global finance. Citigroup just launched something called Digital Depository Receipts, or DDR. It's a brand new commercial product that tokenizes the shares of pre-IPO companies for wealthy and institutional investors. It actually functions just like a traditional depository receipt, where a bank acts as your custodian, but the huge difference here is that ownership is recorded securely on SDX, which is a highly regulated, permissioned blockchain.
So, what does this actually mean for us? Why is it such a turning point? It matters because this isn't just some crypto experiment. This is real, heavy-hitting, institutional adoption of blockchain. It totally democratizes access to private markets and increases liquidity, meaning early investors can cash out way before a company actually goes to a traditional IPO. Plus, it sets a massive regulatory precedent with the SEC, finally offering a fully compliant, regulated alternative to the Wild West of crypto exchanges. It is literal institutional DeFi in action.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful quote from the June Digest that sums all of us up. The future belongs to those who start building it today. Think about everything we just covered, from SpaceX's trillion-dollar valuation and their orbital data centers, to Apple's on-device AI, Bezos automating physical engineering, to Citi rewiring finance on the blockchain. Relentless innovation is rewriting the rules of literally every single sector.
Which leads us to one final thought. Just look at the sheer scale of these systemic shifts we talked about today. The very tools we use to build our world are changing. Our infrastructure is quite literally moving into outer space, and the pace of it all is only accelerating. So I have to ask you, are you prepared for the breathtaking pace of the 2026 technological landscape? Think long and hard about how these incredible, massive advancements are going to impact your own career, your investments, and your future. Thank you so much for joining me and learning with me today. And keep exploring.